Hello dear students, welcome to EduHunt IIT and NEET Foundation Academy. We are discussing about the internal structure of the ear. In the middle ear, the cavity is mainly present in the middle ear, that is called tympanic cavity. And this is supported by a bone called tympanic bulla, which is a temporal bone of the skull. It is already discussed. And next to this is two apertures are present called fenestra ovalis and fenestra rotundus. And these apertures lead to the internal ear. And one more thing is, the tympanic cavity is connected to the pharyngeal cavity through a small canal that is called eustachian tube, and the importance of eustachian tube is also discussed in the previous session. And also we have mentioned that there are 3 ear ossicles in the middle ear. One is the malleus, middle one is incus, third one is the stapes. Let us see the detailed structure of malleus, and it is situated towards the outer ear, that is towards out, that is the starting bone, starting ear ossicle is the malleus. It faces towards the outer ear and it is hammer shaped, and this is formed by the modification of a bone called articular bone of the jaw. జాలో ఉన్న ఆర్టిక్యులర్ బోన్ మోడిఫికేషన్ వల్ల వచ్చిన చిన్న బోనే మ్యాలస్. మ్యాలస్ ఈజ్, ఆల్దో ఇట్ ఈస్ అ స్మాల్ బోన్, బట్ అమాంగ్ త్రీ ఇయర్ ఆసికల్స్లో పెద్దది మ్యాలస్. మ్యాలస్ ఈజ్ ద biggest one among malleus, incus and stapes. It is the modified bone of articular bone of jaw. Jaw bone modification, that too articular bone modification valla vachinde ee malleus. And inner broad part of malleus is connected to the next bone, that is incus. It is connected to the incus, and there is a joint between these two, malleus and incus. Joint ante two bones in connection ni, two bones are connected together by a joint. Bone and muscle are connected by a ligament. Bone ki muscle ki connection ni ligament antaru, bone ki connection ni joint antaru. Gurtu pettukondi, malleus is a bone and incus is also a bone. These two bones are connected together by a joint called synovial joint. Synovial joint, the joint which is limited, which has limited movement. Ishtam vachinattu etu tirigite atu tiragaledu adi, only it has a limited movement. The joint has limited movement. What kind of joint it is? It is a synovial joint, like hinge. How we move our hand, we can able to move our hand with the help of the joint. Only in one direction we can move. The movement is restricted on the opposite side. In the same way, it is like a synovial, a saddle like a joint, synovial joint. It has a restricted movement. It is movable, but the movement has restrictions. And the malleus is connected to the incus by this joint, synovial joint. And next ear ossicle is the incus. The ossicle is anvil shaped. Just now I have shown you the anvil. Yeah, this is the anvil. Anvil చూసారు కదా, and this is anvil shaped bone formed by the modification. చూడండి, ప్రతి బోను కూడా జాలో ఉన్న ఏదో ఒక బోన్ మోడిఫికేషన్ వల్ల వచ్చినవే. malleus, incus, stapes. malleus is the bone, modified bone of the jaw, that is articular bone of the jaw. And second is incus. It is the modification of the quadrate bone of the jaw. It is also modification of quadrate bone of jaw which forms incus, and it is connected to the inner thin part to the stapes, the third bone, third ear ossicles. Incus is connected to the or joined to the stapes through a joint called ball and socket joint. Ball and socket joint, like మనకి ఇక్కడ బాల్ అండ్ సాకెట్ జాయింట్ ఉంది కదా, లైక్ షోల్డర్స్ దగ్గర ఉన్న జాయింట్. సో అలాంటి జాయింటే ఇక్కడ కూడా ఎక్కడ ఇంకస్కి స్టేపిస్కి మధ్య ఉండే జాయింట్. ఇంకస్ ఈస్ కనెక్టెడ్ టు ద స్టేపిస్, ద థర్డ్ బోన్, త్రూ అ జాయింట్ కాల్డ్ ball and socket joint. And the joint between malleus and incus is the synovial joint. It is the second bone. The connection between the second and third bones is ball and socket joint, and third bone is stapes, which is the smallest bone not only among three but in the whole body. మన బాడీ మొత్తంలోని స్మాలెస్ట్ బోన్ ఏది అంటే స్టేపిస్. మరి లార్జెస్ట్ బోన్ ఏది? ఎస్ దట్ ఈస్ ద కరెక్ట్ ఆన్సర్, ఫీమర్. మన థైలో ఉండే ఫీమర్ విచ్ ఇస్ ద లాంగెస్ట్ బోన్ ఇన్ ద బాడీ, బట్ విచ్ ఇస్ ద స్మాలెస్ట్ bone in the body? Stapes. It looks like the stirrup of the horse. హార్స్కి ఉండే స్టిర్రప్ అంటే గుర్రాన్ని ఎక్కేటప్పుడు దాని పక్కన ఉండే లూప్ లైక్ స్ట్రక్చర్ ఉంది కదా, అలా ఉంటుంది. ఇట్ ఈస్ ఫార్మ్డ్, ఇట్ ఈస్ ఆల్సో అ మోడిఫైడ్ బోన్ ఆఫ్ జా, దట్ ఈస్ ద హయోమాండిబ్యులర్ జా. హయోమాండిబ్యులర్ bone of the jaw. It forms the stapes. అంటే malleus, incus, stapes, these are the three different ossicles, ear ossicles present in the middle ear, which are the modified bones of jaw. First one, the malleus, is the modified jawbone, articular jawbone, and second is the incus, which is also a modified quadrate bone of the jaw, and third stapes, which is also a modified bone, jawbone, that is the hyomandibular bone, and it is the smallest bone in the body. And stapes is connected to the incus, that is the previous bone connected to the incus at one side, and it is connected to the membrane stretched over the fenestra ovalis, that is oval window. టూ అపర్చర్స్ ఉంటాయి మిడిల్ ఇయర్లో అని చెప్పుకున్నాం కదా, ఫెనిస్ట్రా ఓవాలిస్, ఫెనిస్ట్రా రొటెండస్. అందులో ఈ స్టేపిస్ ఒకవైపు ఇంకస్ అంటే సెకండ్ బోన్తో కనెక్ట్ అవుతుంది, ఇంకొక వైపు ఫెనిస్ట్రా ఓవాలిస్, ద అపర్చర్ ఆఫ్ ద మిడిల్ ఇయర్, వన్ ఆఫ్ ద అపర్చర్స్ ఆఫ్ ద మిడిల్ ఇయర్ ఫెనిస్ట్రా ఓవాలిస్తో కనెక్ట్ అయి ఉంటుంది. అండ్ ఇక్కడ మనం చెప్పుకోవాల్సింది ఏంటంటే, మామూలుగా మ్యామల్స్లో, వర్టిబ్రేట్స్లో ఇయర్స్ 3 parts ఉంటాయి, that is external, middle and internal. Frog has only, even the what we call the ear parts are made up of bones, and we have 3 bones in our ear, that is malleus, incus, stapes. Any mammal consists of these 3 bones, any vertebrate. But in frog has only one bone, columella oris is the only bone, ear bone present in the frog, in the tympanic cavity of frog. Tympanic cavity, that is the middle ear. This middle ear of frog has only one ossicle, that is called columella oris. And malleus and incus are absent. These two are absent here. All the three ear ossicles are arranged. Malli mammals kochanu. These are arranged and connected by ligaments. ఇయర్ క్యావిటీకి ఇవి లిగమెంట్స్తో కనెక్ట్ అయి ఉంటాయి, బికాస్ బోన్కి మజిల్కి ఉండే కనెక్షన్ని లిగమెంట్ అంటాం కదా. అండ్ all these bones and the ligaments and especially the bones and the membrane, they carry the sound waves from eardrum to the internal part of the ear and next to the mainly to the fenestra ovalis part of the middle ear. Actually sound waves, they reach the ear pinna, the external ear, then they reach the middle ear lo ఆ సౌండ్ వేవ్స్ని ఎంతవరకు క్యారీ అవుతాయంటే అప్ టు ఫెనిస్ట్రా ఓవాలిస్. దీంతో మిడిల్ ఇయర్ కంప్లీట్ అయిపోయింది. నౌ ఇట్ ఈస్ ద టైమ్ టు డిస్కస్ అబౌట్ ద ఇంటర్నల్ ఇయర్. ఇంటర్నల్ ఇయర్ కన్సిస్ట్ ఆఫ్ 2 parts, bony labyrinth, membranous labyrinth. Bony labyrinth, membranous labyrinth. Bony labyrinth ante the part of the internal ear made up of bony structure, and membranous labyrinth ante it is a membranous part which forms the internal part of the ear. Ante kaadu there is a cavity between these two. The internal ear is not a simple structure, it is a complex structure which is made up of semi-transparent membrane. It is called the membranous labyrinth. It is complicated and also it is membrane like structure called the membranous labyrinth. Bony labyrinth and membranous labyrinth are connected by a cavity called పెరిలింఫ్ క్యావిటీ. ఈ పెరిలింఫ్ క్యావిటీలో ఉండేది పెరిలింఫ్ ఫ్లూయిడ్ ఉంటుంది. మెంబ్రేనస్ లాబిరింత్ అండ్ బోనీ లాబిరింత్, ఈ రెండు కూడా దీస్ ఆర్ ద 2 parts ఆఫ్ ద ఇంటర్నల్ ఇయర్. దీస్ 2 parts ఆర్ కనెక్టెడ్ త్రూ అ క్యావిటీ కాల్డ్ పెరిలింఫ్ క్యావిటీ, అండ్ దేర్ ఈస్ this perilymph cavity is not a space, it's not like an empty cavity, it is filled with a fluid called perilymph. And endolymph is the another fluid filled in the membranous labyrinth, filled with the fluid called endolymph is the fluid that is filled in the membranous labyrinth. But the bony labyrinth and membranous labyrinth both are connected by a cavity called the perilymph cavity, and the liquid or the fluid present in the perilymph cavity is the perilymph. That is the fluid or the liquid found in the cavity between these two, that is bony labyrinth and membranous labyrinth. And then there are 2 main bag-like structures or chambers in membrane labyrinth called utriculus and sacculus. These 2 are sac-like or bag-like structures present in the membranous labyrinth. 2 bag-like structures. This is the actual very complicated part of the internal ear, where you can see the main cochlear. ఇవన్నీ ఎక్స్ప్లెయిన్ చేస్తాను. These 2 chambers, the 2 chambers of the membrane labyrinth, the 2 chambers of the membrane labyrinth, that is utriculus and sacculus. Both these chambers are connected by duct called sacculo-utricular duct. Sacculo-utricular duct is the connection, a thin canal-like connection between the 2 chambers of the membrane labyrinth. What are the 2 chambers? Utriculus and sacculus. These 2 are connected by sacculo-utricular duct, where we have seen in the middle ear a duct called eustachian duct. That is the canal that present between that connects the tympanic cavity and the pharyngeal cavity. but it is the internal ear cavity that is the duct or the canal, sacculo-utricular duct. This connects the two chambers of the membranous labyrinth of the internal ear, that is sacculus and utriculus. A thin endolymphatic duct, it is also a tube like structure that opens into the sacculo-utricular duct. A thin tube opens into this duct, sacculo-utricular duct, and this endolymphatic duct opens into the endolymphatic sac situated at the back side of the skull and on the other side, that is behind the skull, back side of the skull on the other side. That is, మీకు ఇందాకే చెప్పాను, perilymph cavity is the cavity present between the bony labyrinth and membrane labyrinth, which is filled with the fluid called perilymph. మరి membranous labyrinth లో ఉన్న fluid ఏంటి? ఎండోలింఫ్. మనం ఇప్పుడు మెంబ్రేనస్ లేబ్రింత్ గురించి చెప్తున్నాం కాబట్టి మెంబ్రేనస్ లేబ్రింత్ కన్సిస్ట్ ఆఫ్ లిక్విడ్ కాల్డ్ ఎండోలింఫ్. ఆ ఎండోలింఫే, దట్ ఎండోలింఫ్ containing duct is connected to the two chambers, that is sacculus and utriculus. These two are connected by a duct called sacculo-utricular duct, and in turn it has the endolymphatic duct opening. Endolymphatic duct opens into the sacculo-utricular duct. Anyway, these further details will be discussed in the next upcoming sessions. కొంచెం కాంప్లికేటెడ్, బట్ చిన్న ఎఫర్ట్ పెట్టండి, ఈజీగా అర్థమవుతుంది. అందుకే ఇంతసేపు మీకు అర్థమయ్యేలా చెప్పడానికే నా ప్రయత్నం. థ్యాంక్ యూ.